Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Midas Letter RAW! Today is Friday the 13th. Get it? Ah!
No, it's
Friday
not.
the 13th.
No, it is.
It is.
Holy
it's Friday the 13th. Are
Wow.
you feeling lucky?
No.
You're not feeling unlucky?
Yeah, you know what? I'm not that superstitious, to be honest with you.
Really? Do you walk under ladders?
No,
What happens if a black cat crosses your trail?
won't be. Won't happen.
What do you mean won't
I
happen?
won't let it. But I'm not superstitious.
I see.
I'm just kidding.
How
I'm
about
just kidding.
how about the producer's price index?
Well, they were looking for a 0.6 increase this month. They got 1.0. When I first saw it, I thought, oh, that's a bad number. Then I realized that's almost double what they were expecting.
Right.
So this thing is becoming less, this inflation thing is becoming less transitory and more looks like
Permanent.
So from the beginning of March, 220.
This is 2020.
Yeah, look, that's when COVID started, right there.
Yeah.
And then everything went nuts.
Prices started to rise by an average of 0.6. Now this is right off of the Fed's website too, Fed research.
Yeah.
And the Fed has been saying that they're targeting 2% inflation, which they haven't been able to hit, and that's been the major justification for continuing to fabricate capital from thin air, or as they call it, ease quantitatively. And now, here is starting in December, we're starting to get close to 1%.
Yeah, that's up to June, okay? That doesn't include that July number today, which would put it, notch it up again, notch it up again. So
this is now up here, way up here, because this is another 2.5 points now. So we're at 1% annualized per month of producer price index, right?
Yeah.
12% per year. So way to go, Fed. You have overshot your target by a factor of 6 in a matter of months, just by printing all that money. To put this into context, let's go out.
When was the last time it was up here?
It's never been up here.
What do you mean never?
Prices only rise. They don't go down. Look, prices drop. The last time there was a price decrease broadly, this was in 2008.
That's after the crash.
Yeah, right in here.
See? Well, you know, it's interesting. You know, get back to I don't know if this relates to this. Maybe I'm talking CPI. But oil is basically about half of its all-time peak, and gasoline at the pump is within 5 cents of the highest I've ever seen it.
Yeah,
5 or 6 cents.
Oil companies are thieves. We agree with that.
Yeah, but the government keeps jacking taxes.
So the government's thieves as well. You know, it's amazing to me, like the speed at which society generally and the population of the world more broadly, it's like our social institutions are starting to fall apart. Would you say? Like, I mean, the institution of democracy, for example, it's not a democracy. If you have two choices, there was I mean, it's going to sound, people are going to seize upon this and say, James has lost it. But I watched a TikTok last night.
Yes.
And this gentleman from, I believe he was in Jamaica, and he made an excellent point. He says, you know, if I give you two choices, you did not choose of your own free will. You chose as a result of my coercion by offering you only two choices.
That's
the only
true.
time you choose of your own free will is if you come up with something and you say, you know what? I want ice cream. I'm going to go get ice cream. Nobody put that in your head. Nobody offered you, like, you can have ice cream or candies.
The people controlling the big software program in the sky put that in your head, say,
Well,
hey, buddy, you look a little...
Since we know that tech companies are basically founded and run by thieves as well, that it's no... I mean, how do we know that there's not a subliminal little thing running off of your Apple device going, you want ice cream, you want ice cream, ice cream, ice cream, ice cream!
Ice
like
cream, ice cream.
You want some ice cream?
Ice cream,
I feel
you
like
scream, we all scream for ice cream. I know.
Anyways, so yes.
So look at this thing. This thing's flying.
No, this is runaway inflation, is what you're looking at right here, ladies and gentlemen. I give you runaway inflation.
Yeah.
Like, here we are back to 2006. There's never been a point since 2007,
Yeah.
so look at the period in here where the price, so this is the run up, this is the beginning of the collapse of the housing crisis.
Yeah.
This is the end of the collapse of the housing crisis, August 2009. This is the onset of rampant quantitative easing, and this is the onset. Well, so this is where they tapered, prices leveled off. This is where they stopped quantitative easing, prices dropped. This is where they said, hey, we can't have this. Let's start printing again. So they started. We're like, hey, this is working.
And then COVID kicks in.
COVID kicks in, and it's like, print, print, print.
Go back to 1970. I want to see what it looked like in 1970 because I was alive back there.
Unfortunately, if you was unfortunate, then it must be tragic now.
I'm trying to apologize for my old age.
56.
Look at it start taking off, eh? And it never comes back.
No, prices only go up.
Holy shit!
You know when prices? You know what the bottom line is? You could put this chart against the population chart, and that basically mimics it exactly.
So it should.
Population is the source of all demand.
Yeah.
All demand comes from population.
Yeah.
So there should you should not expect a price.
So if there's no people, is there going to be demand?
If you see a decrease in population, you should expect a decrease in all of these things. The charts, the asset prices. I mean, ultimately, the charts.
Except if you screw around with the money. You can keep printing money to offset that too.
Well, in an environment where population actually decreases, I mean, thank God for Elon Musk having 7 children, because if he didn't, or 5 children, whatever it is, then we'd definitely be in a population decrease. Did you see him taking credit for doing his duty because he's offsetting the inevitable population implosion?
Well, look at what's happening in China in the next 20, 30 years.
Never mind what's happened in southern Ontario. The population of the Hamilton area, for example, is supposed to rise by 39% by 2040. 39%. This is already the most
39%.
39%. This is already the most densely populated area of Canada. What?
39%. I got this.
39%.
I just tied up my button. Now I'm getting them. I can't. 39.
You gotta listen up, man.
Whoa, that's just too many people.
Well, I mean, from where I sit here in Haldimand County,
there. If I was sitting there, would I have a different perspective?
It's a good place to be. If there's 39% more demand coming into the market, then theoretically the price of my real estate is rising just by me sitting here.
What are you going to be selling? You're going to be selling
I'm not selling nothing. This place is not for sale.
No,
they're going to be selling hotcakes.
Like for instance,
they're going to be selling weed,
some fish,
magic mushrooms, ecstasy if they ever legalize that.
Yeah.
Probably not PCP. That was
it's angel
ketamine
dust.
though. Ketamine though. Ketamine has some.
Well, you got the animals here. Ketamine.
Ketamine. Yeah.
You know, I think I took ketamine once.
Might be selling some tomatoes this fall. Yeah. We got tomatoes coming.
They sell a bushel of these Italian tomatoes.
Italian.
Well, I think they're called aroma tomato.
How do you? If you grow aroma tomato in Canada, is it an Italian tomato?
No, it's a Toronto tomato. It's a Toronto tomato.
So if the producer price index is going up by 1% per month at this point, annualized, that implies 12% per year inflation at the producer price level. That's the price producers of products are paying for the ingredients that go into the products.
Remember, this is again from the sellers, right? These are price produced.
From the seller's perspective.
Not the consumer. The we'll have a chat about the consumer thing next. I want to see the 10-year rate, the U.S. 10-year rate, 135. So 135 is a number that's sort of in between. That's still the lower end of the peak. We got to 174, I believe, and recently to 114. Difference there is 60 basis points to add 30. Yeah, if we went up to 145, we'd be in between the high and the low of the last 6 months, I believe.
You know what I'm ordering? Rain harvesting gear. You know why? I think water is going to be one of the hottest commodities. I think that producer price index is going to look like the price of water going out over the next 10 years. I think that we're in for some serious droughts.
Well, you know what? It's something's definitely going to happen. I'm not sure what it is, but maybe it's water. It might be water.
Potable water is going to increase in price. Bottled water.
Is it potable or potable?
You can say whatever you want.
Okay.
As long as you know what I'm talking about, it doesn't matter if it's correct or not.
A bowl of water.
Potable.
Potable.
You can stick it in your pot.
Put it in your pot.
And smoke it.
Turn it into the bowl.
Like salmon.
Smoke some salmon.
Cold, like a fish.
Okay.
Have you ever tried smoked salmon, by the way?
I'm not going near there. I'm not going.
Damn.
Anyway.
No takers on that one today. Okay, let's try to find the consumer price index here. No more fucking around.
No more.
All right, no more Mr. Nice Guy. Okay, here it is. Consumer price index for all urban consumers. There. Consumer price index.
Look at that.
Producer price index.
Almost straight up 45.
Consumer price index.
Yeah.
Producer price
It's
index.
taken off here. Like, there's a ramp up. It's going a little more exponential.
Yeah. Well, so what is the producer price index? If you go to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, now, first of all, why is the Bureau of Labor Statistics focused on producer price index and consumer price index? Shouldn't they be focused on labor statistics? Because that's the U.S. Bureau of that they are. So, first of all, you got the wrong people running the wrong show. It's like,
you think the people from one bureau get mixed up into the other bureau?
Do you ever think they swap out the lion tamer for the trapeze artist at the circus? No, they don't.
No.
Because they both specialize skills. Apparently not such the case at the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. Lion tamers are doing trapeze acts. Acrobats are training lions. And
right.
Here is the result. Here is the result, people. What is the producer price index from their own website? Oh, it'd be so nice if this thing just popped up. There we go. So I'm going to enlarge this because this is just, here's more evidence of why the entire global financial system is become complete bullshit. What is the producer price index? A producer price index is a family of indexes. So, okay, wait a sec. So the producer price index isn't an index, it's a family
of index. So there's more, they're all in there. All these 10,000 of them.
Yeah, no, that's just it. Now I'll go to the second paragraph. About 10,000 PPIs. There's 10,000 indices.
Right.
So then, back to the original question, what is the producer price index?
Average of those 10,000.
Well, and who's...
But it's weighted, though. It's weighted. And if this one goes up too much, they throw it out.
Somebody can actually figure that shit out?
No, it's all done by computer now.
It's bullshit.
It's done by computer.
Bullshit.
No. Do you think...
Bullshit.
You got guys doing calculations when they send rockets into space? They need computers.
So, anyways, on that note, this is why we are such great supporters of all the companies that market and sell cannabis products, because the only way to deal with such a fraudulent universe
is get stoned.
Is to get high all the time, high and drunk. So our next guest is one of the largest cannabis retailers in Canada. My next guest is Trevor Fencott. He's the CEO of Fire and Flower Holdings Corp. Trades on the TSX under the symbol FAF. Trevor, welcome back.
Thanks for having me again.
Trevor, it's awesome to talk to you. I'm most curious as to how is your deal going with the Circle K stores? Have you guys started selling cannabis products in Circle K stores yet?
No, that's a fair ways off, but we are evolving, of course, our relationship with them.
Yes.
I think we talked earlier about our pilot program in Alberta where we are using 600 square feet of their existing real estate to have a co-located store.
Right.
And of course, exploring those opportunities in other provinces. So stay tuned on that, but that's certainly in the works.
Okay. So you're up to 87 stores now. And is your, I mean, I'm going to go strictly from investor interest here. Is your margin improving in terms of as your revenue grows across those stores?
Well, we're in a tricky spot right now, actually, because we've got a lot of licensing happening in key markets like Ontario. So I don't know if you recall, Alberta over-licensed for a bit and margins sort of went down, revenue went down in stores and it stabilized. Mm-hmm. In Ontario, we basically doubled the license count in the last 12 months. So that's, of course, having an impact. And I think we're also seeing the emergence of what I'm going to call the value disruptors. So there are groups out there now that are doing deep discount deep discount cannabis. So we're going to start to see the emergence of that as a category, and we're going to, need to respond to it. So, So I think that for the moment, we don't have stable margins, I guess, is the underlying point. We're in transition.
So are these value disruptors, are they essentially new entrants trying to claw out a niche in the marketplace using cutthroat pricing?
You said it, not me.
Well, let's call a spade here. I mean, this is partially to claw out some market share, obviously, But also, is the main competition for retailers still the black market across Canada?
Yeah, I think that's still a fair assumption. The illegal market is tremendously large, and it's also very well organized. People sort of seem to have discounted it. Like they do things like delivery, same day delivery, same hour delivery. They have products that aren't available in the legal market. So there's still a lot of competitive forces being exerted by the illegal market for sure.
Yeah, that's not a surprise. Out here in southwestern Ontario, we have a lot of illegal grows. The OPP are constantly shutting down large operations, like we're talking about 10,000 plants in greenhouses, and people are exploiting the large capacity personal prescriptions to gang them up on a single property. You can gang up to 4, and that creates an expectation that there's going to be a large cannabis grow, but these guys are going over the top. So, I mean, looking back to 2018 when cannabis first went recreationally legal, has there been any improvement in the situation vis-a-vis the illegal grow supply, or is it the same, or is it worse?
No, it is getting better. Every time the legal market aligns itself with what consumers want, and there's no friction, you make an improvement. So, for example, in Ontario, where delivery has de facto been allowed during the pandemic, we've seen sort of really, really great strides there because, of course, you can deliver something to our customers, for example, in 1 hour. It's becoming more like pizza delivery, right? This is something that is accessible to people. And when you give people the products they want, so the 2.0 products like vapes, concentrates, edibles, that also takes a big chunk out of the illegal market. Where I think we're still going to struggle is things like whenever you have a government control choke point in the middle. So, for example, in Ontario, we have the OCS. Alberta has a centralized buying body. Those introduce inefficiencies to the market that the illegal market capitalizes on. So, for example, we're starting to try to work through white label and house brand programs here. In the illegal market, there'd be no regulation. You just start your own brand and away you go. There's no regulation, no time is lost. There's no inefficiency in there for them. So for us, we're kind of catching up there. So every time we take a step forward, it's meaningful, and we're starting to see that. But I go back to my old thing. Saskatchewan had it right day one. Full e-commerce day one, direct to licensed producer deals. So you could do white labeling from day one in Saskatchewan. You could do delivery. Everything that was available could be done in Saskatchewan. And the other provinces are slowly catching up to that thinking because, again, it's the government's out of the business of cannabis in Saskatchewan. It's into the business of regulating. And that's what we're seeing.
Wow, I never thought I'd say it, but it sounds like Saskatchewan's regulation is a good thing. So is it safe to say that the having to compete with the black market has accelerated the adoption of efficiencies in the legal retail side?
Yeah, no, I do think that hasn't been accelerated because the final frontier of competition. So first you have to compete on price, right. And we saw that happen in Canada. And I think that price war is largely being won at the moment. Then you have to compete on product selection. And that's where we're kind of conflicted at the moment because, of course, we've got the OCS limiting SKU count now. So we've got fewer SKUs that are going to be available to consumers. We don't really have a view on broad white label or house brand stuff. So we're not competitive on product selection yet, but we'll get there, I think. Then the final kind of battleground is, of course, convenience. How can I access this product in a way that I want to? So, to the extent that we solve those 3 problems, you've solved the illegal market problem. And I'd go to Colorado as an example. We're not doing anything new here. Colorado has 0 illegal market. 0. Not 1%, 2%, 0. The only illegal market they have is a resale market, which of course we still have here in Canada for the resale of booze. People selling to people they shouldn't, they're buying it and then reselling it. That's the only illegal market in Colorado.
Interesting. What about the concentrates and derivatives of cannabis, concentrates and isolates like shatter, diamonds, all those butter, all those really sort of exotics, as I call them, that are super potent. We don't allow those in Canada in any way, shape, or form at this point from a Health Canada perspective, do we?
Well, we do. I mean, we do have concentrates. We have things that shatter type products in store. We have even old school products like hash are actually allowed in the Health Canada regs, and we sell them.
Oh,
so
yeah.
again, we're getting there in the product selection part of it.
Okay, interesting. So then, what's the biggest driver of your sales at this point? Is it still dried flower?
Yeah, dried flower is still a category leader for sure. We're seeing pre-rolls actually become increasingly common, and I suspect that there's going to be a slow sort of overtake there because pre-roll is really just dried flower that's pre-packaged in a more convenient method. And you're seeing some real innovation there. Like I've got to give my hat is off to Redecan for designing a pre-roll format that looks actually fairly normal. It's not, the Health Canada packaging is on the outside, and the inside, I think they're called ready rolls or something, but it's basically 10 pre-rolls that are packed into a little package that you could carry with you. So, we're seeing some innovation there that's driving adoption.
Huh, that's interesting. Okay, so then how does and this is just a tangent out of left field because the psychedelics realm is emerging, but it's all clinical based. Is there any future in your estimation that there's going to be some psychedelic products allowed in the cannabis system?
Yeah, we've looked at that. I think it's highly unlikely. The path of cannabis is not the path of psychedelics. I think you're right. There's going to be a medical focus on this, but we're still, in my opinion, sort of 5-10 years away on the kind of research side to get our heads around what these substances would do in an adult use environment. I think things like medical trials on things like PTSD, all these things make sense, but we're so early in the piece on that. With cannabis, we were starting with kind of 40 years of historical information on it. It's been around for longer and a wider adoption.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, Trevor, well, that's a great update. We'll leave it there for now and come back to you soon. Thanks very much for joining me today.
Thanks so much for having me.
You bet. Bye for now.
Well,
all right. So anyways, Fire and Flower's kind of been drifting, selling off. Back here is when they announced that deal with Couche-Tard, or
Right.
Elementar, which owns all the Circle K outlets.
Right.
But these guys have 87 retail outlets across Canada.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah. So as he says,
But you know what? I read the other day, the industry in Canada is still struggling to find. I think one of the
Money.
big ones had a year revenue increase, but profits aren't. It's still, it's hard to make money.
yeah. Trulieve announced quarterly earnings. I saw the press release, but I can't remember what it said.
Yeah, good. Well, it's
I
nice
think it was
to know.
$40 million they made on the quarter.
How much?
40 million. Q2 revenues increased 78% to 215 million. Boy, I was really close at 40 million there.
Yeah.
Moron.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, this is August 12th, 2021, so we know we're right on this. So out of Tallahassee, Florida, they announced achieved revenues of 215 million, sequential increase of approximately 20 million. So that, quarter on quarter. Net income of 40 million. That's where I got that number. 40.9 million.
Yeah,
So
big number. That's good.
That's a good margin.
Yeah, but they're not doing that in Canada anywhere.
No, they're doing that mostly in Florida.
Yeah, because Florida has been open, and also Florida is the sort of one of the party states, no?
Yeah.
Like, what do you go down to Florida for? Certainly not to go on the wagon.
Gross margin is 67%. That's pretty good. So they're growing their market really well. Kim Rivers, the CEO,
Yeah.
she stopped coming on the show because of my constantly referencing their biological inventories and their financials and downplaying the importance of their revenue because I was pointing out that, hey, look at this, their biological revenues is more than the revenue they pulled in. Should we go have a look again? I think we should.
So what do you mean their biological revenue?
Their biological assets. So basically, biological inventory is a line item where they say we have these many plants at this age, which means that they are worth X. Even though they haven't been sold, even though they're not a product yet, even though they're not on the shelves, even though they're not for sale currently, they're still attributed a future value in the current quarter.
Based on their future value.
Saleability.
And that's okay in yeah, you know, the U.S.
IFRS, not
Yeah.
okay by GAAP. That's why why I think so many companies are listed in Canada. Current assets, inventories, net. Ooh, they've even taken out the word biological here. That's interesting. So now it's all inventories blended, 112 million. Okay.
Interesting. Total assets.
Okay.
Goodwill, 70 million. Intangible assets, there's another 70 million. So 200 million.
Intangible assets is 123 million.
Yeah, but then underneath goodwill, that's another intangible asset.
Okay, so let's add up the.
That's 200 right there. 205 or something.
Okay.
You know.
Okay, wait a sec. We want to find the.
Let's see if they have any debt. I want to see if they have any
revenue. Here we go. 215 million, cost of goods sold 70. Okay. So revenue of 215 million.
Yeah.
And we don't know. See, this is it. They've stopped reporting.
So let's just take a look at the price of the stock. The stock, if this thing is on fire, the stock should show it. See, the market's saying that the valuations got so far ahead, and now they're coming back to reality.
This is my point. It's like, if the financials are so good, why does the financial reporting result in a sell-off? Obviously, there is some hesitancy on the part of the market to value the quality of the earnings at the same way that the press release does. And this is the problem with the cannabis industry. Now, Trulieve, having suspended their reporting of biological assets as inventory and blended it with general inventory, confounds the whole ability. And obviously, to me, it's obvious that the reason they would do that is because biological assets are the biggest part of inventory, not actually ready for sale assets. And that's always the problem with valuing cannabis companies when they report biological assets as a ready for sale inventory item when it is not. And most often, cannabis crops fail in the latter part of their cycle. They don't generally fail at the beginning. It's easy to get a cannabis crop going. To keep it going without spider mites, whitefly, thrips, powdery mildew, that's the art. That's why companies don't like to report biological inventories.
You know, you have a career in
growing
keeping
weed.
pests away from marijuana.
I have spent a lot of money and a lot of time annihilating spider mites.
Better yet, get a job with the government. And then you don't have to do anything, and they'll pay a lot of money.
Do people who work for the government pay taxes to the government?
Well, they double up their salary, you see. With the way they work in the government. If you work for the government, they say, okay, we're going to pay you 20 grand a year, then we're going to throw another 10 in for your tax. So, okay.
Is that right?
Something like that.
So basically, they subsidize your taxation.
Yep.
That's not really fair to the rest of us, is it?
You know, it's just one big spin, right? That's all it is. It just, no matter how you look at it, you got to try and get in the way of when the money is doled out. A lot of people.
That's a good point. Be where the puck is going to be, not where the puck is.
You know, I know. I wouldn't mind some a little dole.
Well, you know,
pork, they say in the States.
I've been
pork.
seeing ads for Justin Trudeau on YouTube lately, and clearly there's an election coming. If they've started advertising before there's even an election announced, there's an election coming. Don't need the announcement. But you know what? I'm voting for Liberals again. You know why? They legalized weed. And what did weed do for me getting legalized? It transformed my entire financial existence.
It did it.
So they got my vote.
Okay.
I'm partisan.
Good point.
I'm
Good
partisan.
point.
And I feel compelled to
Okay.
partisanly say that the response to the pandemic has been outstanding for most Canadians who are in a position to access these various financial programs. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say.
Hey, you know what?
I think
you got to say, you know what? If you could figure out, I mean, maybe I shouldn't say this, but I'll say it. If you could figure out how to not pay a lot of tax, it's a great place to live.
Well, I like to think, Ed, that it is a privilege as a Canadian to pay our fair share of taxes.
Well, what's fair? The key word there is fair.
Well,
what's fair?
Okay, you know what?
More than half?
In the housing market, guess which the fastest growing housing market price-wise is in the world, out of all countries?
Southwestern Ontario.
But that's not a country. That's Canada! Canada!
Yeah, you know why?
Faster than Tokyo, faster than New York, faster than London, the three formerly fastest growing property price markets.
I think
Canada.
One of the reasons.
Yes.
The density of the country is. Think about it. It's wide open. I mean, you could jam in another billion people in here.
Yes.
Couldn't you?
Yes. Well, billion.
Yeah.
Easy, soft.
soft.
Well,
$1 billion per province.
$1 billion per province.
We should have 8 billion people living in Canada.
We could easily become the biggest economy in the world if you people would just get fucking.
Get over here.
Get fucking. Fuck without a bag. Fuck away.
No love, no glove. Or you want love, glove. No glove.
No, but seriously,
love.
if we want to create more demand for Canadian products, we need more Canadians.
Well, we're not going to get it from Canada. We're going to have to get them from somewhere else.
I beg to differ. How many children do you think you could sire in a week?
Any more than I've sired already? No.
Well, we could. My point is that
Is that why they in the old days they used to go to a guy and they'd say, "Sire, I need to speak to you." He's siring all the children.
He's the father of all the children.
The sire.
He's like those sperm donor guys. Sire.
What should we do now, sire?
I'm changing my name.
Don't
to
bother
Sire.
me. I'm siring. Okay.
If the light is on,
right.
I'm siring.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. So that's my point. How many? So the population's 38 million. Call it half women.
Yeah.
So
right.
we've got 19 million women. There's probably 19 million men. Each man needs to just impregnate one woman, and boom, there's double the population.
Faster way is to move in some people from other parts of the world.
Other breeders. Our own breeding population is not up to the task. Is that what you're saying, Ed?
Look at Russia's situation. Look at Europe's situation.
Well, never mind Romania. Have you seen their population curve?
Yeah. Like there's some of these countries. I think you need 2.1 or 2.2.
The problem is that they're just little infertile.
You know when you start to look at the craziness that exists in the world, I think what happens after a good run at the evolutionary stage, people start to, I'm losing my mind. Like, it doesn't happen with animals because they don't have a mind, but it's going to be interesting. Maybe we just have to have another extinction event.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Fascinating. So Darwinism versus creationism. Saw an interesting development, which I've kind of been anticipating over the last 20 years, which is where in the United States, particularly in the school districts of New York, they are trying to mandate both masking and vaccination. In other words, you can't come to school and teach unless you're doubly vaccinated. You can't come to school as a child. Kids can't get vaccinated yet for the most part because the research hasn't been, unless you're masked. If you're a parent, you're not allowed in the school grounds. You drop off your children at the gate, they go in. That's in the state of New York. And the problem they're having is that people are claiming exemption from vaccination based on sincerely held religious beliefs.
Right.
Sincerely held. Now, in Texas and Florida,
I know.
The governments are at odds. The governors at the state level are saying, you can't mandate anybody to wear a mask or get a vaccination. It's a violation of their rights. Yet the school districts at the municipal and county levels are saying, no. My county, my rules. You want to bring your child to school, must be wearing a mask, and teachers and staff must be vaccinated. So they have the same issue. Exemptions are being claimed based on sincere religious conviction or medical exemption, which, medical to me is like that's a
catch-all.
Well, it's not a catch-all. It's like you're either medically ill-advised to do a vaccine or you're just making it up. But you can't really fake that one. It's just like a doctor can say. But with a sincerely held religious conviction, how are you going to test that? And does it not stand reason that if 40% of the population claims to be exempt on a sincere religious conviction, that essentially the mandate is invalid?
There's a big problem right now between Washington and the governor of Florida. The governor of Florida says, "Hey, I'm looking after the people. I don't want to hear from Washington. Get out of the way. We'll take care of it."
Right.
Because 1/3 of the new cases, I guess, are coming from Texas and Florida.
Well, so Rick DeSantis is a great example. He's telling the schools that they cannot put mandates in place. They cannot mandate vaccination.
And they're saying our municipality, our school.
But if you want to go into the government building in the state of Florida
I personally don't want to go.
You're not allowed in the building unless you've been double vaccinated and you're masked up. And you have to get tested even if you've been double vaccinated and you're masked. If you want to go see the governor.
So there's double standard.
Double standard. 2 tracks of justice. which means that there is no justice. Anyways,
I know.
where was I going with this?
Look, it's a can of worms, and as you get
fucking bullshit is what it is.
more and more money, it gets more and more complicated because just think about it. The numbers of how many billionaires have been created
Billionaires are parasites.
in the last.
There's 2,700 and some odd
I
billionaires.
bet you there's more now. Today, there's another billionaire.
Today more than yesterday?
Reese
Wow.
Witherspoon sold something for $900 million. Reese Witherspoon.
Reese?
Reese.
Reese? Is she the one who invented Reese's Pieces?
You heard that stupid joke, eh?
Which one?
About the terrible tragedy in Hollywood that
terrible tragedy?
a famous actress got stabbed.
Which one?
Reese.
Reese Witherspoon?
No, with a knife.
Oh, did I ever set that up?
You did.
Oh.
It's like you knew the answer.
Oh,
Okay.
God.
Okay. So.
Anyways, do we have
Okay.
any
Well,
other guests?
look. We need to talk about commodities. We need to talk about copper.
Okay, let's talk about Bitcoin. Though.
wanna-
Bitcoin's back up 44,000.
Well, you know what? The last thing I said when we said it was rolling over, I thought maybe it was going to be range bound, and I thought the range was like 42 to 35. It's back to 46. See, you can't bet the load. When you think you're absolutely right, probably go the other way.
And did you hear about the $600 million largest ever crypto heist in the history of cryptocurrencies that they reported last week?
No?
So,
Oh my God.
yeah.
I can't
some guy
imagine.
hacked in and stole $600 million worth of cryptos. And then he returns $226 million worth of Ethereum and some other one.
He said,
Well, apparently he returned the Ethereum because it's like anything you do with Ethereum, everybody can see it and track you. Whereas Bitcoin, they can see you moving the money around through the system, but they can't necessarily identify it. But yeah, so it's like how anybody can think that this is ever going to be money is like
you get some brilliant guys that are saying that cryptocurrency is worthy of 5 to 10% of your assets.
brilliant guys. I don't think they're that
Well,
brilliant.
you know,
I think
guys
they're
that are
promoters.
billionaires that think you need to, because you know what? The problem with having a lot of money is where do you put it?
Well, who owns who?
Yeah,
You own the
I
money.
don't know.
Does the money own you?
Well,
You know, most
it's
people.
not money that's the root of all evil. It's the love of money that's the root of all evil.
Well,
The
yes.
love of money, right?
Evil-
You need
evil
money
is a
to pay your
concept,
bills,
though.
right?
Evil is
but
relative.
to hoard money at the expense of people suffering, 1 billion people without water.
Yeah.
Why can't?
Well, billionaires are parasites. You don't need to convince me.
Well, you a billionaire yet, James?
No, I will never be a billionaire by design. You know why? Because I throttle my ambition. Why do I throttle my ambition? Because if I let my ambition run wild,
You'd be a parasite too.
I'd be a parasite. Exactly. I'd be a parasite on the planet's resources. Do I want to be that? No.
You don't want to. It's one thing to be a parasite. You don't want to be a threosite.
Trio.
Triosite.
Trios.
Okay.
Boy, oh boy.
All right.
So, Graphene Manufacturing Group, let's pull it
Yeah.
chart a little bit bigger. They have just announced a $10 million bot deal. What was it, bot deal, or was it a? I don't remember.
Yeah, but
full share
you're
and a
saying
half
it's not a private placement for
It's a short form offering, I believe. Actually,
probably marketed more in the U.S. No, or can they do that?
Cantor Fitzgerald and PI, I believe, are the lead in Haywood.
Wow. Well, that thing.
Excuse me.
That got to $1.30, and then look at the big wick. Sorry, tail on the red candle. Big tail, and then something changed. Something changed 3 or 4 days ago.
Yeah, they needed to raise money. They said, we're not doing it down here. Let's buy some stock and put it up there.
Yeah. So you think it's that simple?
Well, for some people it is. For some deals, they have, 60 million shares outstanding?
They've got not that many shares, and they've got something that could be a game changer.
Well, the blue sky potential is that if they actually invent a replacement battery for the lithium ion with 20 times the power density, with 0 nickel and 0 cobalt in it, and 0 lithium, so cheaper, 10 times more powerful.
Still need copper.
Well, the battery doesn't need copper.
No, but
the devices that they.
Hence, we're in copper.
Woo! Let's pull up a copper chart now.
right.
Anyways, full disclosure, I own a boatload of shares in Graphene
Yeah.
Manufacturing Group. I'm way in the money. All right, so there's copper.
Yeah.
Now let's pull up our favorite copper stock here. U.S. copper.
Copper's within, I think, 8% of the all-time high print of about 484.
Yeah.
So 8% is like lumber. You know, lumber.
Lunder? Steal my thunder?
Lumber is no longer considered to be a good commodity. Call it lunder now.
Lunder.
Because it's
Short for money laundering.
It's under
That's how you
$500.
launder money.
It's under $500.
No, I know. It's 446.
But it's all still double. But look at that. Yeah,
No, this is U.S. copper.
we got to get Giddy up
U.S.
and go
copper
here.
trading at 14, offered at 14.5 cents, bid at, look, it's so tight you can't even see the bid. 14 to 14.5 cents. Look at that chart.
Yeah,
Okay. Now look at this copper chart.
yeah,
U.S. copper.
yeah. I guess there's some people that think that
US copper.
it's going to take a while
Copper.
before we start.
So what the hell's going on? Full disclosure, Ed and I both have shares in this company.
yeah.
Both stand to make money.
I've been
if it
in
goes
this thing
up.
for four plus years now.
Well, I've been in and out of it for probably 6 years, honestly.
Well,
But so it's heartbreaking to see.
and you know, we do have a bit of a. There was apparently the second worst fire ever in California history.
Which
the
is
Dixie,
still burning.
The Dixie fire.
The Dixie fire
is encompasses Plumas County. Plumas.
Plumas. Well,
And you know they can't get in there.
well, drilling's halted.
One of the great gold rush cities of California, Belleville, was leveled last week.
Greenville.
Did I say Belleville? Well, past that. I'm quitting smoking dope. Greenville.
No, I
Well,
think Greenville. Belleville, Greenville, Schmillville, you
Ville.
say, yeah. No, burned to the ground.
Blankville, USA.
Blankville.
Now it's Blankville.
Well, so this is the thing. Why is U.S. copper going down? Because they had to announce that they had suspended drilling.
yeah, they've got holes coming. There's going to be about 7 holes, I think, announced in a few weeks.
Wow.
Okay. They wanted to do 50.
Shameless promotion of our book
Yeah.
here. So far down.
Let's talk about some stocks that other people own.
Oh,
Not so much.
No, we won't
Okay,
do that.
okay.
All right. So, and then of course we have to finish the show with a little discussion about our sponsor, VXTR.
Yeah, VXTR.
Voxter Analytics, the company that is redefining the real estate transactional landscape. The company in which I own 140 some odd thousand shares that I bought out of them. No, I bought them in a private placement. I bought some out of the market. Also have an option through a related company that's doing marketing. Clearly the marketing hasn't started yet. We keep hearing that it's imminent.
You like to see a nice basing like that, though. You see where...
Well, certainly that's the new level. That's the support,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Until we go back to, like, there's where we started covering it. Yeah.
And when can we see another report on
Financials?
Yeah.
Financial results will be out by August 31st.
Okay, so this month.
This month.
This month.
Yeah.
That'll fill in some of the missing
Yeah,
data
I can't
points.
comment on the
Data points, I like to call them
earnings
data
because
points.
they haven't been released yet. Exactly, data points, but it will be more data points, and we'll wait for that to come out. I've got probably going to have a couple of other gentlemen from the management team on in the weeks ahead. Anyway, so that's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Do follow us, do like us, do subscribe. It's time for us to smoke dope and drink lots of booze.
Ooh.
And smoke tobacco.